What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is season 13, episode 4. And before we get into it, I hope you had a wonderful holiday. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, y'all. So before we get into it, we are going to get serious and also trigger warning. Like, for real, if this is something that you, because we are going to be talking about sexual assault. If you don't want to hear this, I'll put on the screen how to skip straight to the review if that is not something you're comfortable listening to. But it was released on November the 22nd by the New York Times that there is a lawsuit being brought up against Marculus Wiley, who is Anne-Marie Wiley's husband. And Anne-Marie Wiley is the newest housewife of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And pretty much the title goes, former NFL defense end Marculus Wiley accused of RAPing Columbia student while attending in 1994 reported. It says the victim's lawsuit claims she attempted to unalive herself because of the incident. And it is a very long lawsuit article, but basically it says the victim's lawsuit, which is filed in New York Supreme Court under the Adult Survivor Act, claims Wiley, the 48-year-old former ESPN personality, attacked her in the fall of the year while he was starring as Columbia's running back during his sophomore season. She stated that Wiley had forced himself on her in her freshman dorm room and did not care for her objections to her actions and took her virginity. So basically, the lawsuit is also claiming that she went to the student health, well, not student health, but student athletic board to let them know what happened. And she also reported it to the school, but nothing was done because he was an up and coming athlete. This is all that she is alleging and claiming in her lawsuit. And I'll place the article below because it is very lengthy about the actions that were not taking place for this student who is claiming that she was not protected. And again, this was released on November the 22nd, 2023. So it looks like Anne-Marie responded to this article. So she posted this yesterday on November the 24th. Yeah, because the day is the 25th. And she said, and this was posted on her Instagram. It says, when your real life is the definition of honorable and upstanding, all they can do is fabricate lies. Here for the love, the truth, and the joy only. Okay, back to my vacation now. Hashtag Wiley's World, hashtag Team Wiley. So it looks like Anne-Marie is sticking beside her husband, which is to be expected if you ask me. Like, if she doesn't know her husband to be this type of person, then more than likely she probably gonna stick beside him and feel like as though these claims are not real. But I am of the belief, like I always say, believe victims first until you give me any other reason to question it. So that is how I am going to maneuver this situation. The story that's being reported isn't one that's unbelievable because we know it's a common story. A student athlete will harm someone or harm another student, and the school will sweep it under the rug, especially if they are a star athlete, because they don't want that negative press. And also the good press that they get from them winning games brings better the funds and donations to the school. So they will pressure the student that has been harmed into sweeping it under the rug or not really dealing with it. So I believe the lady. Now, if it comes out that it isn't true, then I also am the type of person that believes that since these are very serious and damaging accusations and claims, you should seek a defamation lawsuit and get your money back that way. But for right now, I believe the lady. What I am surprised is that they did platform Marculus and Anne-Marie, mainly because when it was released that Anne-Marie was going to be a part of the show, a lot of people weren't happy about it, mainly because a lot of people allege, because I haven't seen those those comments that Marculus has made very transphobic comments. And so a lot of people are like, well, why would Bravo even put this man on this platform or give his wife this platform? But um Martina has made those comments. Julia's wife on Real Housewives of Miami has made very negative comments about the trans community. So it's kind of like Bravo doesn't really take that much of a stance against those types of things, in my opinion. As well as I also think it's a mixture of like we need to diversify the Beverly Hills cast, but not really sitting down and like vetting people. Like if anything, I feel like they should have added a Latino woman. Like y'all live in California. It's been several seasons since we've had a woman of Latin descent or Latin ethnicity. Like they live in California. Like y'all could have got some other woman that is an actress like Garcelle or someone that works in the entertainment industry or someone like Anne Marie who is a nurse that's an anesthesiologist or like it's like this is what to me this is what happens when you're just focused on diversifying the cast but not doing it in a way that makes sense. So those are my thoughts and opinions. So I was gonna talk about something that I thought like a spicy topic, but I'm looking at it now and I don't really think it's that spicy. So we're just gonna get into this review. So the episode opens up where it left off, where we're at Sutton's house, and you got Kyle and her going back and forth, and you got Sutton saying, "Name them, name them." Name them. And let me tell you, Sutton was being so childish, but that is something I would do. Like, you're telling me that I've been rude, I've been acting unhinged, and you're questioning whether there's something going on with me in my life. I'd be like, okay, well, tell me where are the times I've been rude? Where are the times that I've been unhinged? And so Kyle goes all the way back to, I want to say that was like, if we're on season 13, I feel like that was like season 10, maybe 11, where you remember the whole, I'm jealous of what, Crystal? Your ugly leather pants. When they were at Lisa Rinna's house, and Harry was making the bolognese, and then you had the situation when Crystal and Sutton really got into it about the whole like violation comment, and you got Sutton on the boat, rubbing her face with her little face roller to calm herself down and soothe herself, and then the whole situation in Las Vegas, and Sutton is looking at her like, girl, you gonna have to give me more than that. But Kyle's like, you've been acting really crazy lately. Like, is there something going on? And Sutton is looking at Kyle like, no, I'm good. I'm straight. Like, we're fine. Like over here at the Sutton Staten household. What about you? Because you've been acting different. And it was Kyle's response where I'm like, there's definitely something going on in your household, because you immediately got defensive. You're telling Sutton not to be defensive, not to be unhinged, but your response to her was very much defensive, where you're like, we're good, we're straight. You're leaning back in your chair like you're ready for an argument, and Sutton is looking at you like, girl, no, I'm really like, you're concerned about me, I'm concerned about you. So then Kyle ends up getting up because she don't really want to talk about it, and she's like, you know what, I'm leaving before this gets too much. And so Sutton's like, okay, let me walk you out, and she was like, you don't have to, and she gets in the car and leave. And I'm like, if I was Sutton, I would text Kyle and be like, don't ever come to my house again on no BS like that. And like, because you just showed up, we got into an argument and you just left. Like, don't disrespect my house like that. But there's definitely something going on with Kyle in her life, because it's like her responses to everybody is weird. Not Garcelle, Doris asking you and you kind of being like, no, I just needed space from everybody. I just needed space from everybody. And then when Kyle goes to Sutton asks you the same question pretty much, and you're like, oh, I'm ready for whatever you got. And so it's just weird to me. But I do feel as though Sutton, with the whole comment of like, Kyle's life is perfect, she don't never really show anything, that's not true. I just think this is Sutton's way of getting back at Kyle for the past 2 seasons about how Kyle has treated her. I think Sutton is kind of like, yeah, this lady really isn't my friend. Like, we are not friends. So the gloves are off and I'm gonna start being investigator Karen, and I'm gonna start doing what I do, and which is meddle and being messy. So we then get this scene of Sutton and Jennifer Tilly. I think they were at a stable because there was like all the horses walking around, and we know Sutton got a new horse. But I really like this relationship between Jennifer Tilly and Sutton. One, because I just like Jennifer Tilly. She just seems like such a vibe and such a cool person. But they sit down to have lunch, and Jennifer's excited. She was like, "Yeah, I'm glad that I'm here with you. I get to spend, time with you, Sutton. We get to have happy Sutton time." And Sutton makes a comment where she was like, "Man, I wish everyone felt that way about me." And Jennifer's like, "What do you mean?" And Sutton is just like, it's been a lot of situations with me and Kyle. Like, girl, I thought me and Kyle was good friends because I like Kyle, but she was like, I'm starting to see some things with her and starting to realize that maybe we aren't as good as I thought. And Jennifer was like, yeah, Kyle has seemed to treat you pretty well. Like, what's going on? And Sutton is like, here lately, Kyle has been very like incensed with me. And so they show the clips of when they were in Las Vegas and when Kyle and Sutton were like arguing. And while they were going to the car, where Kyle was like, don't be a bitch to me because you're mad at me or something like that, when they were going to the Sprinter after the whole Magic Mike situation. And then they also show Kyle getting mad at Sutton, where when she went to see Sutton at her house and she was like, you know what? You told me that I butt into conversations and that was really rude. And you know what? F you for that. And to me, like I told y'all in the last review, I thought that was partially coming from maybe Kyle is still like feeling some type of way about the response people had at when Diana and Sutton were talking at Garcelle's birthday last season, and Kyle was drunk and like shoving and pushing on Sutton, and people were like, yeah, Kyle was doing too much. But I'm starting to feel like maybe that is a comment that she has heard often in her life, and now she's just like over it, because there was no need for you to be like, F you for that, because you were butting into a conversation that didn't concern you with the whole Diana situation. And even in Las Vegas, once Sutton said like, I'm good, there was no need for you to keep going. And so there has to be more to it. I feel like maybe that is a comment or that has been a statement that Kyle has heard her entire life, her being the baby of the family. Maybe people have always said like, girl, you always in situations that don't concern you. But hey, maybe who knows? Like, who knows? So Sutton is starting to say, there's something going on with Kyle. She was like, she's not wearing her wedding ring. When we was in Las Vegas, she was down in that gym for like 3+ hours. She not drinking. Her eating is kind of funny. Like, something is going on. And Jennifer Tilly basically says like, honestly, when people, and she was like, and she was like, I don't know what's going on with them, but she was like, honestly, when people have these very like 180 responses to things, like they get on extreme diet plans or like, they shave all their hair off, they're trying to regain control of their lives in some way. And it's like something in their life has happened where they don't feel like they have control, so they try to take control in a different way. I agree with Jennifer Tilly's statement. It definitely feels like Kyle is trying to regain control of her life, but I think it's a combination of things. I just don't think it's the whole Mo situation either, if Mo is cheating or not, because they haven't said if he has or not. Until they say he has, I'm going to err on the side that it's the fact that Mo and her are no longer on the same page and that he is very engrossed in his career. In the early seasons, Kyle always talked about how her and Mo's dream was for his company to become a big success. And now that it's reaching that, or it's hitting its peak, I think she didn't realize, or Mo didn't realize, that with that success came maybe possibly a wrench in their marriage, because he no longer really has time for her the way he used to have time for her. So I think that is something that she is dealing with. Then you also have her situation with her best friend. Her best friend committed suicide. So it's like she has to deal with that. Like, she possibly being angry with her friend for not being around anymore, or being angry that with herself, that she wasn't able to like stop her friend from making such a permanent decision, that she is probably dealing with grief. And then you also have her situation with her sisters. It's like they're always on again, off again. It's either she cool with one of them and not cool with the other, or both of them are not cool with her and she's the odd man out. Or it's like it's a constant circle of chaos over there with them sisters. And I really feel like all of this hit Kyle at once, and I just think that the whole extreme working out, not drinking, like I like it just seems like she definitely is trying to regain control of her life, because she probably feels like she's just out here just floating, and she's trying to find something that grounds her. And maybe the extreme working out, the not drinking, eating differently is probably helping her cope in some type of way. All right, y'all. So the next scene we have is with Crystal, Jeff, and Rob. And like I told y'all, they have not built up Jeff enough for me to care, as well as Crystal. If this is the only storyline you have before you met Anne Marie, girl, I see why they only gave you 10 seconds in the opening. Because what is this, Crystal? This storyline is stupid. But, if it's real life, it's real life. But pretty much, Rob has just come back from China. We find out that Crystal and Rob have a home in China, and Jeff decided to go with Rob while he checks on the house that they had in China. So they're sitting down at the kitchen table, and Crystal is like, "How was my brother?" And Rob is like, "Girl, he's still, he going through the motions. He's still dealing with the fact that he is no longer getting married to his ex-fiance, who we find out her name is Vivi, which is a pretty name." And Crystal's like, I know he's still going through it because he won't really talk to me about it. He's definitely mad at me. And Rob is pretty much like, "Yeah, girl, I think there was some competition between you and Vivi." And Crystal's like, "No, there wasn't. Like, what are you talking about, Rob? Like, what?" And Rob is like, "Yeah, girl, it's kind of feeling like there was a competition for your brother's attention, or to show how much you are valued by your brother in his life. Because why did y'all want him to come here in America? Like, he should have been a man and stayed in China and dealt with the pandemic with Vivi." And Crystal's response to that is like, "No, that's not it. But in our culture, that's just what it is. We are kind of overbearing." So y'all know, at the height of the pandemic, there was a lot of discrimination against the Asian community, specifically those of Chinese nationality and descent. And they were definitely not letting Vivi back into America with just a Chinese passport. They were not gonna do it. As messed up as it seems, and not seems, as it was, they were not gonna let that lady in there. And I'm agreeing with Rob. Your brother should have been a man and stayed in China with her. If Crystal is 40, then her brother has to be either, I think he's her older brother, he has to be maybe 41, 42, possibly 43. And if he's a little bit younger than her, he has to be in his late 30s, maybe 38, 39. And it's at the end of the day, you're a grown man, a grown man. If you wanted to stay with your fiance during the pandemic, you should have stayed. There is no amount of pressuring from your family that should have made you leave that lady at the height of a pandemic, where people were people died, millions of people lost their lives. So it's just kind of you left her to deal with such a scary situation. And if Vivi would have still married you, I would have thought she was crazy, because that man already showed you he not gonna be there when it get hard. Girl, what? So Crystal calls her brother, FaceTimes him. That man on the phone breaking down because he is, I guess, nervous or anxious to go meet with Vivi. Crystal kind of apologizes to him about the situation, but he really is broken up about it. And I'm like, you should have made the decision to stay there with her. And now you probably did lose her forever, because I would look at you funny too. You I'd have been like, "You are not the man I'm supposed to marry." Because girl, what? No, ma'am. So the last few scenes all happen at Garcelle's event. So Garcelle is doing a premiere showing, or a private showing, or an early screening for her movie on Lifetime called Black Girl Missing. And Lifetime ain't my jam. Okay, it's not. I can't stand none of their movies. I like when they have like documentaries on there, or like the docu-series, but are there reality TV show series, but I can't do their movies. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's just so corny to me. But the subject matter that is being discussed in the movie that Garcelle is premiering in is very important. Very important. Oftentimes with black and brown kids or people go missing, the sense of urgency or attention is not the same as our white counterparts. So it is a very important topic, and I'm glad that Garcelle is bringing light to it. So everyone shows up. It's moments before the screening. We actually see Larsa there. I said Larsa gonna get in where she fit in. So Larsa is there, and we see her Garcelle's kids. We even see Jax's girlfriend, which I was like, oh my goodness, he really is puppy love, puppy love. But Jade wants to go talk to Erica. I didn't know it was Jade that got cussed out. I thought it was Jax because Jax has blonde hair now. But when they do the flashback, it was Jade and he just had blonde hair at the time. But I guess he went back to brown hair. And so Crystal goes over there and he's like, I think I'm going to go speak to Erica. My mom was kind of worried, but I think I'm just going to go speak to Erica. So he asks Crystal to go with him as he goes and speaks to Erica. And like a lot of people pointed out, it's like a full circle moment. And, Crystal was the one that was there when Erica cussed out Jax. And she was the one that not grabbed him, but basically ushered him away from Erica, telling him, don't listen to that lady. She crazy. It's okay. And so, I thought it was very nice that he chose to have her be his backup. And Crystal was honored. And also she was, honored to be there to like be his backup, but also she wanted to allow this conversation to happen between Jax and Erica because she feels like there's a new side of Erica that she hasn't seen. And she was just like, Erica seems more happy, more open, more willing to have conversations. So he walks over to Erica and Larsa standing beside Erica. And he basically says, you know what, Erica, me and you are good. I just wanted to come over here and tell you we cool. I forgive you. And Erica is a little taken aback, but also happy that he came over to her. And she says, you know what, I'm sorry. Like, I appreciate you coming over here. And she even says that, like Garcelle has raised really great kids and they're a class act. And we then see a scene of Jax telling his mom that he spoke to Erica and she apologized and they had a really good conversation. And Garcelle was kind of like, I'm happy they have a conversation, but I feel like Erica should have went and talked to Jax because she's the adult in the situation, which I can see Garcelle's point, but I think the fact that Jax had enough courage and enough, because it is hard to talk to adults when you're a kid, but the fact that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna just get this out the way, and it was a pleasant conversation for both of them, I think is very positive. So we then see Garcelle tell the people about her movie. They actually show the movie. While the movie is showing, we see Denise pull up. Mind you, I guess Denise missed her call time because she didn't dress up. Girl had on a Letterman's jacket and her hair was souped up in a bun. I said, ma'am, now I get it. You Denise Richards, I get it. But if you were going to come to a premiere showing by your friend, you definitely could have did better than what you had on. But Garcelle is happy to see her and they hug. And then when the movie's over, everyone's giving Garcelle her props. They're like, you did an amazing job. And people are really happy for her. So we then see Crystal, Dorit, and Denise see each other because they're all kind of like, oh, wow, we haven't seen Denise since 2020 when they did they Zoom reunion when Denise got up and she said, I'm done with this conversation, and she left. And so Dorit was like, I reached out to Denise, but it was like communication falter. Like it was like every time I would call or text, she wouldn't really respond. So I'm actually really surprised to see her. Now we all know Denise said she was never coming back to Beverly Hills unless Lisa Rinna was gone, and I guess she was holding true to her word because Lisa Rinna is gone and now Denise is back. So next we see, as Denise is mingling with everybody, we see Sutton go over to Kyle to have a conversation. And she's pretty much like, Kyle, girl, what's up with you and me? Like, girl, what is up with you and me? And so Kyle is looking at Sutton like, what are you talking about? And Sutton's like, well, you came to my house. Me and you get into it and you abruptly leave. And I'm just kind of like, what's going on? You've been acting really crazy. Like, you've been acting really shady towards me. And Kyle is like, well, no, I came over to your house because I was concerned because you've been acting unhinged and you've been acting off. And Sutton in her confessional is like, Kyle is using words that she knows bothers me and hurts me to my core. And so Sutton is like, I don't think I have been. I think you have been. And Kyle's like, what do you mean? And Sutton is like, are you mad at me? Are you mad that I'm still cool with your sister? Because it's like the energy that you're giving me is giving that you're mad that I'm still cool with your sister. And Kyle's like, why would I have an issue with you being cool with Kathy? Like, I don't care that you're cool with Kathy. And then Sutton is like, these are my feelings, but the way I feel is that you treat me like I'm your little sister. And Kyle's response was was like, don't flatter yourself. I promise you, if Kyle would have said that to me, I would have told that lady to kick the blackest part of my ass, and I would have been like, this conversation is over. Because don't play in my face like that. Don't play in my face like that. So the conversation continues, and actually the episode ends with Kyle and Sutton talking. And Sutton is like, girl, there's something up. It feels like there's something up. And Kyle was like, well, Kyle gets mad at Sutton and gets really defensive. But while Sutton was talking previously, before she got defensive, you see this like evil kind of smirk on Kyle's face, like she's proud of herself that she wound Sutton up. Because we're not going to act like Sutton don't be having her unhinged moments, because she do. But in this situation, even with what happened in Las Vegas, I think that Kyle was poking at Sutton when you could clearly tell that Sutton didn't want to be bothered. And Kyle is doing her job, which is getting a reaction out of Sutton. But Sutton is also doing her job and clocking in and noticing that, like, girl, ever since those rumors about your marriage being in trouble, you have been acting funny. So Kyle was like, well, you aren't really being a good friend to me because you're asking me, talking about what's up with you. And the way you looked in your eyes, I knew you were talking about those rumors. And Sutton is like, well, I was talking about the rumors because you have been acting differently. You've been eating differently. You've been working out very crazy. Like, girl, there's something up. And Kyle was just kind of like, just because I'm eating differently and working out, that doesn't mean there's something up. And Sutton is like, girl, don't play in my face. Like, right now, you could just tell me, like, Sutton, you're right. There is something different in my life. And then Sutton's in her confessional talking about, I don't understand why Kyle doesn't want to confide in her friends. Like, this friendship is a farce. And I was just kind of like, yeah, because there's something going on. But Kyle is sitting there, and you can clearly tell in her body language, because she keeps like readjusting herself. So you can definitely tell that there is something going on in her life right now. And her trying to play it off like it's nothing. It's like, girl, something up. So the last scene we're going to talk about is Dorit and Garcelle. So Dorit and Garcelle decide to have a conversation, and Dorit is giving Garcelle her praise. She's like, your name's everywhere. You did a great job acting, and you're also producing the show. Like, congratulations. And so then Dorit is like, girl, what's up with me and you? Like, I feel like every time we take a step forward, we move back. And Garcelle says, I agree with you as well. And Garcelle pretty much says, with the whole situation that happened in Las Vegas, where I was sharing with you guys that I don't feel safe talking about my family around y'all, I was taken aback by your response. She was like, in Cannes, we had such a good time. And they show a video of Dorit, Garcelle, and Andy dancing and stuff. And she was like, but you seem the most defensive out of everybody. And Dorit is pretty much like, well, I was, because it's like, you're saying that we can't be trusted around your family, and we're parents ourselves. Like, I took offense to that, but you know what? I should have took a pause about it. And Garcelle was pretty much saying, like, I felt kind of crazy. I felt like you were trying to, like my feelings, like maybe I was doing too much. But she was like, genuinely, it bothered me. And then you tried to tell me, like, I need to get over it. It's been a year. And Garcelle's like, you got robbed. I would never tell you it's been a year. And I said, clock it. Clock it. And so Dorit was like, I didn't say that. And they rolled back the footage, and it was like, yeah, you basically did. You said it's been a year. Like, you basically insinuated she should get over it. You may not have said she should get over it, but you was like, it's been a year. And Dorit says, you know what? I'm sorry about that. I take that back. And Garcelle in her confessional is like, I don't think Dorit is a bad person. I just think that she's like, she's someone who's very self-absorbed, and they pretty much say that they're going to move forward. In my opinion, I don't think Dorit and Garcelle really like each other. I think that they're just two people that just don't mesh, and they're always going to have issues with one another, or underlining tension, because I think Dorit kind of sees through Garcelle and Garcelle sees through Dorit, and that's just what it is and what it's going to be. But that's how the episode ended, y'all. So yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.